SBA. I don't know. It's the PSA, the ESA, or the DSA, or the ABC, espialidocious. I don't know what it is, but I know that Mr. Belcher was saying that we need to know more about dialysis, not just about our treatment, not just about our access, but also about, our access to, it's very important, but about the machine and how they clean it and the solutions they put through it and all of these different stuff. I just cannot keep up. I don't know what he said, ABC or CFG, but whatever he said, I still got to know more. So I got questions for my dialysis centers. When I get back there to my treatment, I got questions. And I don't know, maybe everybody do, but I do know one thing. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hey, how is everybody? Woo! Welcome to the Lisa Baxter Show. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, should I say Happy New Year to you? Because this is the first broadcast for the Lisa Baxter Show. Woo, woo, toot, 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 toot. You are in for a treat tonight. Oh, yes, you are. You are in a treat tonight. Let me tell you who I got. Girl, please. You ain't going to believe the hype about all of this. Should I read it? Should I read it? Should I read it? I got Juan Bravo. Juan Bravo is a junior, okay? He's a community liaison, a degree in forensic psychology, and he's an entrepreneur. He has a podcast. He has a podcast, and he works for the New York State Assembly. That's right. And he was raised by a serious kidney warrior, a 16-year veteran kidney warrior. And he's going to tell you his story, her story, and every story that relates to all of this. How about that? I would like to introduce him. So look out. He's married though, ladies. How about that? Juan Bravo. Come on, Nishon.
Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Oh, I'm good. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm so glad to have you on the show. Well, you know I had you on the show years ago. Yes. And I also had you do some help. You did some work with me too, as well as helping me film the show when I had to film my husband. So you've done that. Your wife have did some filming when Mitch had passed away. And I'm just grateful to you in so many ways, more than I could ever tell you. So I welcome you to the show, and we're going to hear about your story before we go so deep. How about that?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. As I said, when you first asked me that I would love to be on the show, I think it's the perfect way to start off the year. And I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So listen, hey, tell us a little bit about your job and what you do.
So I'm a community liaison for the New York State Assembly. And basically what that means is that I go out to the community and I get temperature readings, so to speak, to see how they feel about certain issues. And what I do is I bring that back to the assembly, and they take that information and kind of tailor legislation, tailor laws to fit what the community would like to see. So I take a great pride in what I do, because I know that it will affect a lot of people positively in the community.
Wow. Now that's a heavy assignment. That's some big shoes, you know? That's some big shoes, because community, so much is out there in the community, and so much have to be done and dealt with in the community. So you got the ball started, huh?
Yes. I try to attend. Well, I'm a part of the community board as well, the local community board. But before I was officially a part of the community board, I tried to attend every meeting to just understand, get a reading of where the community's at with certain issues.
I remember one time you was upset because they was closing a library, and this is before you worked for the assembly. You were starting to fight that. You start calling me and asking me what I know and the resources and stuff like that. because I got the 411. But I believe in being on a community board too. I was on the neighborhood board, community board, went to community meetings. That is so key and important. And I don't think enough, not just New Yorkers, but people that live in other places also need to be involved in their community. I don't care where you live on the moon. If the moon is having something, you need to be there.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you. I encourage more people to come out and take part in the community board. It's the most local level of politics. You get to learn who kind of the movers and shakers are in the community, who's doing what in the community. And if something is lacking, you can put your energy toward it and assist the community. Also, you can learn a lot of information on what other people are doing in the community, and that can help you in different ways.
See, I mean, you showed a lot right there, and I ain't even finished. How about that? Well, you got to laugh a little bit on this show, trust me. All of that is good for healing. Set off them endorphins, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Okay, so you do that. Now, I remember one time I asked you something about your job, and you said people come in, and they having different issues when they come in, and you have to point them in the right direction or send them to somebody in that office or outside the office. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So also a part of my job as a community liaison is handling what they call constituent issues. Constituents are people who live in the community, and they come to the local office with whatever issue they may have, whether it be they may have issues with their landlord. Their heat may be off. Wow. They may have flooding in their home, all kinds of things. But as part of my job, I either have the information on hand or I know someone who does, and I make that connection so they can solve that issue.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. I should have been down you up for a few things. I ain't mad at you.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome. You know where I am.
Oh, yeah. Some of the person in your office was helping me to deal with some things about being a widow. And somebody else was trying to help me with something with rent. So thank you for even pointing that out and helping me. I'm glad you did it. You didn't have to do it. Is there any website or number or any place you would like to direct them to go?
Well, for people who may have constituent issues in their communities, you can look up your local city council member's office. I encourage you to do that. You can look up your, depending on what the issue is, like if it's a city issue, some sort of New York City department or something like that, or specifically a tenant landlord issue, you should contact your local city council member. I know this is how it works in New York State. So you contact your local city council member, and then for state issues, you can reach out to your New York State senator or your New York State assembly member. And then federal issues, of course, you reach out to your congressman or senator's office.
Wow. I ain't mad at you. This is great. This is some great stuff. Okay, so you told me how you help the community, and you told me about what type of job you do. Now, what links you to kidney disease? What links you to to kidney disease? What brings you in it? What pulls you into it?
What pulls me into it is seeing what it does to my loved ones firsthand. My mother, may she rest in peace, she passed away in 2014, but she suffered from polycystic kidney disease for many years. And, I tried to be the best son I could and try to assist her in any way she needed during that time.
Wow. Well, okay. Now you've been raised by a warrior, from what I know about your mom and everything.
Definitely.
All right.
Warrior.
So, yeah. How did this affect you when you found out she was on dialysis?
Well, really, I didn't understand what it was. I was very young.
Yes.
I remember right before she got on dialysis, we took a trip out to Las Vegas in California. And I remember her feeling very tired, and she couldn't go outside much. She just stayed in the room and ordered room service and stuff like that. And, my mom, she was one definitely for the luxury, but this felt different. She wasn't moving a lot, and it's because she didn't feel well. And when she came back from that trip, I remember her going to the doctor, And then that's when we kind of found out that she needed to start doing dialysis because her kidney function was so low that she needed, assistance from a dialysis machine.
Wow, wow. Yeah, yes, Lord. She was a traveler. So
Oh,
if you said she wasn't having any fun on the trip, or she liked room service, but if she stayed in the room, that was she enjoyed her hotel, but she liked to enjoy, the outdoors of what was going on, whatever city that we would all visit. Because I have traveled with her before, and with her, matter of fact, I went with her to our first dialysis treatment. So I do understand that, the difference of seeing her active to her inactive, So you found out she was on it. You didn't understand it a lot, but I guess you saw it, but you did see a difference and you took notice, even though you were young.
right. I didn't really know what was going on. I understand she has to do dialysis. I understand she's not home for certain days and certain hours. And then there were days where she had operations and would be in the hospital. And a lot of that stuff is kind of a blur for me.
Yeah.
But I do remember her being away and out of the home for a bit. And then what followed that when she came back into the home is that she had issues with her access. She had issues with the graft. It would clog up. And, the way I understood it as a child is that, when it clogs up, there's no like cleaning it out. You have to have surgery to take it out and put a new one in. And she kind of went through that for many years, unfortunately.
Yes, she didn't have very good veins. So she started out with the graft first. And then she later ended up with a fistula. Only reason why she was able to get the fistula was because they had to use a vein taken out of her leg and create one. Because Yolanda Webster had was telling her about that. We were discussing it years ago.
Yes.
But what you remember about it?
Right. I wanted to say a word about that actually. So I am, as I get older, I'm more and more critical of like, the health industry. And I realized that they told her that she didn't have good veins.
Right.
And I don't really know what that means. I don't know why exactly they said it, but I do know that a big part of the health industry is business, and that a lot of the money that's made is in the treatment and not in the cure. And my
you
mother
said a mouthful. Excuse me, say that again.
The money is in the treatment and not the cure. And unfortunately, in the society that we're in is run by capitalism. The bottom line is the most important thing, and unfortunately, the people suffer, for that. But my mother had what they call a brachial. This is for anybody out there who may be told that they don't have good veins and they can't get a fistula, not yet, or they just can't get it at all. My mother has something called a brachial artery transposition. They took a brachial artery from here and looped it around to her forearm on over here. And that way it would allow her to get the fistula, that if it did clog up, they had medical procedures that could clear it. She didn't have to get operations every other month or every couple of weeks. And we were so grateful for that. When this surgeon, we don't know where he came from, but he was a blessing. And he said, oh no, we can do this. And no one had ever suggested it before. No one ever talked about it. But I just want anyone out there to know, if they see this, she had a brachial artery transposition, and it allowed her to get a fistula.
Thank you for saying that. I don't know why I thought it was the leg. There goes my memory, and that's my birthday in a couple of weeks. All right. So thank you for that. I knew they took a vein from somewhere because it was so many years ago that we discussed it, because she was already on it for a certain amount of years. Matter of fact, when she passed, she was on it for 16 years.
Right.
Yeah, yes. She was on it for 16 years. But you did some things to help her out. Now, when she was on hemodialysis, you did one thing. When she had peritoneal, you did another. So talk a little bit about that, Mr. Bravo.
Sure. So my mom started out doing hemo first. Then I believe it was her brother Keith that had told her about peritoneal dialysis. I'm not sure if
I
it was.
believe it was Keith also.
Yeah, my uncle Keith. He told her about peritoneal dialysis, and she didn't have to get stuck with the needles. She didn't have to feel that pain anymore. She didn't have to deal with the graft clogging up and the operations afterwards. She didn't have to deal with that anymore. She would just get one operation where they put a sac, basically inside a cavity inside her stomach, or her abdomen rather, and
Yeah,
she would be able to do dialysis with saline solution, filling that up and then emptying it out after a certain amount of time.
yeah. She
So,
would dwell at night sometimes.
right.
She taught me a little bit of it. Her grandkids a little bit of it, and even you.
Right.
She didn't mind
So
teaching us now.
she did not. She encouraged it a lot actually to learn more about it. So she started off doing the hemo and then switched to peritoneal. After a while, the peritoneal wasn't doing the job anymore. It wasn't getting enough of the poisons out, from what I understand. And she had to go back to hemodialysis. And she was very upset about it. But like I said, fortunately, at some point, we found a surgeon who knew what to do, knew how to fix the problem. And she was able to get the fistula when she went back to hemodialysis.
Yeah,
Um,
she had
and
infections too, infection or something too, right? With
yes,
that,
yes,
with the peritoneal.
yes, the peritoneal dialysis did suffer from many infections. I want to say that I'm not a doctor and I don't work in the health field, but um, the peritoneal dialysis, where they operated on her to do it, it created a lot of scar tissue after they took it out inside her
Say it.
body,
Yes,
which
it
later
did.
which later on in her life did not it was not a good thing. So I'm not going to say, one should choose one over the other. People choose what's best for them in their lives. But
Yes.
in terms of what happened to my mother, it created a lot of scar tissue on the inside of her body, which ended up affecting her small intestine many years later. So that's
Yes.
something that's not really talked about. I never heard that anywhere. So I just wanted to share that with everyone, that if you
Hey,
do,
let it all hang out. Go ahead.
yeah, if you do consider peritoneal dialysis, just know that there's this possibility that later on in your life it can cause a lot of scar tissue on the inside of your body, which can cause complications.
Mm, Jesus, Jesus. That I know. Yes, yes. Yeah, it really can. It really can. It really can, and it really has. And stuff like this affects your family. Because
Yeah,
if you could stare from a bullet, you want to be stared from a bullet. That's one of the reasons why we do the show. This is one of the reasons why I put a lot of family on the show. This is why I put a lot of different people on the show, different resources, because people got to hear these testimonies, these stories, and this type of sharing, because people got to learn about it and from it. But you took up hemodialysis also to learn how to sticker, didn't you? You and your father. Talk about
yeah,
that.
yes, definitely. So my mom was considering doing home hemodialysis, right here in her own home, but two people had to go through training in order to get that done. So
Yeah,
it was myself and my father, and we were taking classes, so to speak. We would join her in her dialysis treatment, and we start off by watching a technician put her on the machine and how to do that stuff, and then we each took part in doing it every time, every time she would have dialysis.
wow. How was that?
It was honestly, it was very informative. I learned a whole lot about that whole process, um, and it seemed really like logical to me. You have to, have the saline solution in the lines, and then you allow the blood to come in, and how to clear the lines, and if there's a clot or an issue, how to clear that. And if there's a real problem, how to save the blood from clotting inside the lines and get it back into the person. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I learned a whole lot about that. It's also very stressful.
Oh
It's
yeah.
very, because hemodialysis, It deals with the blood, and if something goes wrong and you don't respond correctly or fast enough or something like that, someone can lose a lot of blood. And in this case, it would have been my mom, someone I love very much, losing a lot of blood. And it was very heavy being responsible for, so directly for someone you love's life like that.
Yes, yes. Oh boy. Whew. You've done a lot. So you helped her and dealt with peritoneal dialysis. You dealt with hemodialysis. Haven't you also visit her center as well? Haven't you? Visit her center, or saw at her center or things like that.
Yes, I got a chance to. I would often take her to her dialysis center, and in doing the training, I got a chance to know a lot of the technicians, a lot of the administration, and see how the facility is run. Yeah, I got this inside look to that whole kind of life.
Would you? I always push people to go with their family or to be a part of the treatment of their family, so people will see that somebody do love you, somebody do care about you. You can't do nothing on a sneak tip or on the slide, because the family is looking, family is seeing, family is all knowing. You know what I mean? So so you don't you educate, don't you push or agree that the family members should be somewhere around, if not all the time, at least sometimes, or visiting or checking in or something?
It's so important for family to be involved and understand what's going on inside the facility. These technicians who work on our loved ones, they're people too. They're imperfect. Some of them have good days, some have bad days, and that can affect their work. And when you start to put it together, when you realize that their work is, helping your loved one, you start to become more and more concerned about what's going on with them.
Sure.
And if someone's not having a good day, I've seen things like technicians will, forcefully stick in needles and, or ignore patients' calls, silence alarms on machines and walk away. I've seen a lot of things.
Preach. What? You saying a whole lot in a mouthful. See, that's what I'm talking about. Some patients are scared to even say these things. Some patients get penalized for saying it. I was doing something with dialysis advocates and stuff like that, and we were even doing a radio show on it before, way before. While I was even doing the Lisa Baxter show, even around that time, and even on being on somebody's radio show, and that to hear that was happening in other countries where they were scared to say stuff and put the person out the center and blackball them from a place. I was fighting a couple of places that did that here in New York. And then one guy shared an accessoride with me. I didn't even know we were in the same center. I was surprised. And then I had to talk to the administrative about him, because they left him out there overnight and he got hurt or robbed or something like that, or beat up. Yeah. And then they didn't want to own up to it. And I'm like, come on now, y'all got to do better than that. But it made him become violent. So sometimes when a person is acting up, the nicest person in the world, when you treat them bad, you can just change, you know what I mean? Or act up. So you got to show some love and care when you're doing this job. If this not the job for you, get out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, money is a lot and it talks, but you don't need it talking if you hurting somebody or killing them. My brother died on the machine. So, come on. You know what I mean? I've been injured myself in the center. So I puts it all out there. I don't care who listening. You know what I'm saying?
You have to. These technicians are responsible for people's lives. It's not like if you mess up, you get a redo. You can't just start over. These are people's lives. And like you said, people can die on these machines. I lost my uncle on the machine as well, and it was due to the center's negligence. And that's hard. That's very difficult. Especially how he died. He bled out on the machine.
Yes. Whew, yeah, that was hard. Well, if you don't know by now, Juan is my nephew.
Yes,
And I
I
had
am.
to have him on this show. I had his sister, I had his nieces, I've had friends and family and church members. You've seen them all on the show because all of them either had to be on dialysis, dealt with dialysis, and other stuff and other issues. So, as well as him telling you and helping you about the community, I want him to also share about how he grew up dealing with dialysis with his mother, dealing with dialysis with his aunts and his uncles. Because six of my siblings were on dialysis: my two aunts, my uncle, my mother-in-law, and so these things can affect families in big ways. I can't even say it's in a small way because I know they affect mine in no small way. So if it affect yours in a little way, I'm happy for you. But it didn't do that to mine. You know what I mean? If you had to say something to somebody out there that may be a son and his mom is dealing with dialysis, what would you say to him?
Whew, wow.
Take your time.
I would say try and be understanding. You know, I don't know what it's like to have to, you know, be operated on consistently. I don't know what it's like to have to go 3 or 4 times a week and spend hours on a machine, have the blood drained out of you and put back into you, and have to rely on other people and strangers. And some people treat you nice and some people treat you bad. And you have to, there's a, there's a, there's a moment where you realize you may have to do this for the rest of your life. And there's some down times and some despair associated with having to do that treatment. And I just say try to be understanding. My mom, when she would come home, sometimes she'd be very moody, sometimes she'd be tired, sometimes she would lash out. But she and I were in a place, not in the beginning, but eventually we got to a place where we could talk. I say, Ma, what's wrong? Or how are you feeling? Or, and you'd be surprised. People talk to you, say, you know what? I'm just having a rough week, or I'm really tired. Or, one of the things that people suffer with from, people who do dialysis and have PKD, they have insomnia. My mom had insomnia. She would be up all times of the night and she couldn't sleep and she would be so irritable sometimes. And like I said, try to be understanding and be, as well as being understanding, try to have that conversation with them. Hey, I noticed you've been grumpy, or I've noticed. You'd be surprised what they tell you. They might tell you, you know what, I'm really in pain. I'm really in a lot of pain, and having that conversation with them may help alleviate some of that kind of stuff. So just try to be understanding and talking to them. Let them know how you feel and let them feel free to express how they feel.
Wow.
One more thing, don't be afraid to say something's too much for you or too difficult, or I need help helping you or something like that, because ultimately why we didn't end up doing hemodialysis in the home is because it was too much for me. It was really too much. And I had to sit down with my mom and talk to her and really just be honest and let her know that, I'm trying my best. I understand how you would feel more comfortable being in the house, but like, this is, at least in a center, there's multiple technicians and maybe a nurse somewhere and an administration that can help fix a problem. But at home, I'm by myself dealing with someone's lifeblood, and I have only a few seconds before it starts to coagulate in the line, and I have to get it back into the body, and I can't put clotted blood back in the body. That's a lot for someone. At that time, I was going to college as well, trying to figure out my life and working as well. So I'm working, going to college, and then, trying to figure out how to do this home hemodialysis with my mom. And, it hurt her a little bit, but eventually she understood that it was a lot for me to try and do. And it was a lot of pressure. And I didn't want to mess up, because you can't mess up. You can't mess up. And, it can be the difference between life and death. So, don't be afraid to express to them how you feel. If you need extra help or something's too much for you, you need to pull someone else in or something like that. Like, be understanding, try to have those conversations with them, and also let them know how you feel, because that's going to help you feel better being able to express yourself.
Well, knowing you and knowing your mother, I had a talk with her about that because I even spoke with you about that. And I told her that was a lot of responsibility for you. And I went behind your back too and talked to her about that and about the business that you was doing with her because you had a different career line lined up and you did a good job, doing her business for her that she was doing with the construction and security and all of that wonderful stuff. You were excellent. Your sister, all of y'all were excellent, your dad, but that was hard on you. I said that's not your career. That's your love. That ain't my godson's love. That's not my nephew's love. But yeah, I got chopped up for it too. I got some words from your father and your mother, but that's what godmothers and aunts supposed to do. Tell the truth, step in. Even if you get beheaded, you got to step in. But wow,
Yes,
wow.
yes. I want you to know that I really appreciate that from you. You've spoken about my mom being a warrior, but I have a couple of warriors in my family, and I'm talking to one right now. I've watched you for so long. You've inspired me. I see nothing, not even being on dialysis has slowed you down. Nothing at all. No disrespect to anyone else who's out there on dialysis. I know you get tired. You got tired like everybody else and stuff like that. But I never once saw you slow down. There wasn't a meeting that you thought about. I know I'm not sure if I'm gonna go to. You would go to the meeting. You would make the phone call. You send the text message. You would do your Lisa Baxter show. Nothing stopped you. So, like I said, I got a couple of warriors in my family, and you're definitely one of them. And I love you for it. I love you for standing up for me. Even to my parents who meant well. They meant well. I understand that parents when they have children, especially if they feel like they created something, they want to pass it on to their children. And
Yes.
I completely understand that. But my parents were a little less forgiving when they found out that I wasn't still interested in the family business. But you know what? We got to a place where we all understood each other. You know,
Yes.
uh,
Yes, we
I
did.
can I can never express how important communication is. Not even though we had those conversations, they weren't happy. It doesn't mean people are going to be happy about what you're saying, but it's important that you express yourself because when I let my mom know, this I want to do something else, she reacted very badly at first.
Yes.
um, she reacted very badly, and then that opened up a door for us to have a conversation about why she reacted badly,
Mm.
why I wasn't interested in the family business, and what I really wanted to do in life. So you know like I said, communication is so important.
Once you sick sometimes you might want to put something on your kids or your children or your family, but one thing about our family, we do talk and we do share. That's one of the reasons why I had you and the others on the show, and even people that wasn't family, because you'd be surprised. You family is so important, and we are a tight family. I don't care what we deal with or what we go
Mm.
through, sicknesses and all of that. We are all there for each other. Pray together, pray for each other, give each other money, whatever it takes, support. And you have done that for me. You watched out for me, especially when Mitch passed away. So you're a very good godson. I'm very proud of you. I love you. I love your wife, Jay. And I just thank you for standing up, being a man, acting like a man, and living like a man. Oh, I ain't mad at you. Who you got a shout out to give out to? Because that the why I could do this show all night with you.
Okay. I'd like to give a shout out to my lovely wife, Janine. She's always been supportive, always been there for me. Um, and we've been together almost 12 years now. Um, but she's always been supportive, always had my back. I want to give a shout out to um, my brother, uh, my brother from another mother, Jesse Ulysses. Um, he's definitely grown to definitely be my brother beyond friends. I love that guy to death. He's always been very supportive of me as well. And of
Excellent.
course, my beautiful nieces, Latrell and Melody, and my sister, Tawana. Um, those three specifically are affected by polycystic kidney disease. And
Yes.
we try to work on being supportive of each other. I'm blessed in that I don't suffer from it, but but I do suffer from seeing my loved ones suffer from it, you know,
Wow.
and that's a different kind of toll. You know, it's not the same thing. Obviously, I'm not going through it, but that's a different kind of toll, having to watch your loved ones suffer from a disease that, you know, like I said, these industries are making so much money off of, you know, and
Wow.
I can't focus on that money because my loved ones are suffering, you know. But I'm excited for the future because I see so many possibilities. You know, I tell my nieces, I say, you may never have to see dialysis. You know, so many different things are going on in the world. You know, you can change your diet, you can exercise, make sure you're eating the right stuff. What you're taking into your body is very important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that affects the kidneys and where you are in that journey of having a kidney disease and possibly having to get on dialysis. Also, on the medical side of things, I've heard some different and good things. So,
Yeah.
also, I encourage everyone to, you know, like I said, different things work for different people, but I encourage everyone to look into getting on a donor list. You know, I know that process of getting a kidney can be scary, um, and you know, some people may have already have negative experiences and stuff like that. You know, I'm not insensitive to any of that stuff, but I've seen firsthand, you know, people who were once on dialysis who are able to live um, better, more fulfilling lives having a kidney. So, you know, I hope that everyone who does make that choice can, you know, can get a kidney and everything can work out and they can go on living a life, you know, not having to sit at that machine. Because I watched my mom sit at the machine for 16 years.
Wow. Wow. Woo! That's heavy. I ain't mad at you. I appreciate you and love you. And man, thanks for being on the show your second time around. Your second time around. I had your dad too, who did a good job, and your mother. So you keep doing great, wonderful things in the community. I'm looking forward to you doing your own thing. I know you started being an entrepreneur and everything. What type of entrepreneur business are you doing before I let you go? Because I do got to end.
I do. I understand. I appreciate you giving me that opportunity. So, I've started up a podcast. It's called Super Organic Podcast. More information coming on that. I'm setting up a website and I'm gonna be uploading episodes to YouTube. You can
Mm-hmm.
just it's going to be under Super Organic. You can look that up on YouTube, Google it. But when I put that out there, I'll make sure you have that information as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, you have heard it from Mr. Juan. Bravo. Woo. So we were glad to have you. We thank you. Have a great night. And I am going to end the show. Mr. Belcher got another show coming up. So y'all look up because he's coming, I believe, at 9 o'clock. So, okay. Good night, Mr. Bravo. And thank you once again.
Good night. Good night. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, my love. Okay. Well, you guys have heard it. This is the end of the Lisa Baxter show tonight. But I tell you, it was juicy. It was good. I hope get your nuggets, put them in your bag, and pull them out when you need them. How about that? I love you. A million blessings and thanks.